Okay. How about let's quickly read Double Major. Blue and a green, instant at rare. Copy target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary if the creature spell is legendary. This is only maybe possibly a combo card, but even then, hard to believe. Otherwise, just unplayable, right?
I mean, people are going to get excited about the card to copy their legendaries. It is not going to be competitive good, but it's not for competitive good. It's for people who see double vision and get excited.
Yep. So remember, folks, this has to be a spell. So the creature has to be on the stack for this card to work.
Which means you have to have had this card hanging out in your hand and the mana to cast it, waiting right up till the moment where you put the card on the stack that you want to copy. And that's asking a lot. Like, it just, usually Magic doesn't play out that way. Your cards have to be flexible, useful on their own to help you be alive and get the job done.
Yeah, so people comparing this card to like Glasspool Mimic or Spark Double, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the same. Not the same. All right. This is a common which I found a little bit interesting. Pilgrim of the Ages, 2 and a white creature spirit. When Pilgrim of the Ages enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic plains card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You can also pay 6 generic mana and return Pilgrim of the Ages from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah.
Oh my
CGB, you
gosh.
played plenty of Birth of Meletuses. What do you think about Pilgrim of the Ages?
This is the kind of dirtily do-nothing card that I just get really way too excited about for no good reason. Like, I want to take something like this and actually turn it into a win con. Like, that's that's how insane I am. Because it's just, you just get it back and play it again, and you get all the planes out of your deck. And we have to run Yorion in this deck because we can blink this to get another planes, and because we have to have enough planes in our deck to make it worth doing.
And you can get this back with frickin' Elspeth Conquers Death. I mean,
you just hit land drops, man. You hit so many.
You love it.
Dude, I'm going to play this with Cosima, right? And I'm just going to keep charging my Cosima, man. Just go doing nothing. Just doing nothing the way I like to do it.
Yeah.
This card shouldn't be this exciting, but it is.
This card, like, I don't know how good it is, but like, it's gas, right? This card is gas.
Do you play a lot of Cloud Conceer? Because that's 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer that draws a card. So unless you are playing Cloud Conceer in every blue deck, you're not allowed to get that hyped over Pilgrim of the Ages. Unless it's a meme.
It's true. Hitting your next land drop is a lot less powerful on 3 than it is on 2. So this ain't going to be the next Birth of Meletus.
I'm going to play it anyway.
Yeah, I'm probably going to try this card. I don't know. I think this card's an overachiever at common. That's what I want to say about this card.
That is true.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. This is the card I was kind of hinting at before. Mascot Exhibition. CGB. Why don't you read this one off for us?
Okay. Generic 7 mana for a colorless sorcery that is a mythic, and it is a lesson.
Mythic lesson.
A mythic lesson.
Damn.
Create a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying, a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token, a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. You make 3 tokens.
Just vomit some creatures onto the board.
And what is that in stats? That is 9/7 in stats for 7 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Across 3 different bodies and a number of different colors.
Mm-hmm.
The flavor text is, don't just win the game, win the crowd.
Oh, there we go.
That's some CGB flavor text. Let's go. Let's go.
There you go. So, I mean, I don't know. There are worse things you could get from your wishboard.
I agree. I think that you should put it in there because it is the expensive, I have too much mana and I need to try to win the game card unless something else shows up. So if you're best of 1 and your sideboard space is unlimited and you have learn cards that you want to play, which I'm getting really cynical about, this is a card you can play. But I mean, the good thing about the lessons is you probably just craft one and you're done, right? Or you open one and you're done. It's not going to hit your wild cards or your budget very hard.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the rough things about this card is that, like, it's best in a creature deck that might run out of creatures. So a good example is mono red. But one of the issues with mono red is, first of all, how many learn cards are you going to put into that deck? And second of all, like, you usually have other things to do with your mana. And it's also like, even if those decks flood out, it still takes them a while to get to 7.
7's a lot.
It's a lot of mana, dude. And like in the meantime, they're probably activating and potentially getting killed their Faceless Havens. And so that takes even longer for them to get to 7 mana. So I don't know. I almost see this as more of like again, like definitely in a more mid-rangey deck. This is a better sideboard card.
But it's just free, right? Like, if there aren't 14 better options, you're just going to throw one in for when it's right. That's it.
Yeah. That's a good point. It is interesting if this will ever see play in best of 3. And I suppose that, again, comes down to whether any of those learn cards are playable.
With the cards I've seen, the answer is no for me.
Yeah. I think you're right. What you're highlighting here is that we have an abundance of lessons and we don't necessarily have abundance of learn cards.
God, this is the American public school system. Totally. A lot of mediocre lessons.
Yeah.
And not much learning.
True. Not much learning.
Savage.
A privileged few get to do the good learning. Yep. All right. Exponential growth. XX green sorcery at rare. Until end of turn, double target creature's power X times.
Is this a cycle with the red one, the crackling with power?
It probably is. It probably is, man. Are you aware, Covert Go Blue, that we have a card in Standard that currently doubles a creature's power for 2 mana?
That's not true, right? Or Unleash Fury.
Unleash Fury does this effect for 2 mana.
At instant speed.
But
not if you have 6 mana. If you have 6 mana, this does it twice.
Okay, so if you have 6 mana, this does it twice. So the question I ask you, yes, it's sorcery speed, is how many times do we need to double a creature's power before we're satisfied?
I mean, how many of the power and toughness equal to cards in our library cards do we have?
That's a good point.
Let's go.
That's what we really need to do. Yeah.
Like, really, what is this for?
Are they trolling?
Yes, they are. It is trolling. The set is trolling. It should be a troll theme set. The troll tribe shouldn't have been in Kaldheim. It should have been here.
Oh my goodness, dude. Like this, like I read this card and I actually can't even. Like,
all right. Well, I so can't even. I already scrolled.
All right. Sounds good. Moving on. Why don't you hit for us Vanishing Verse?
Vanishing Verse is 1 white and 1 black instant, exile target monocolored permanent.
All right, did we do it? Did we finally get there?
It didn't even take like 13 lines of text. It just one. Just one cheap 2 mana. Instant speed, the way it should be. Exile target monocolored permanent. Just boom.
Is this the best card in the set?
Well, what? So, like, when is it a total flop and you feel horrible, right? Like, what are the cards that just punish us for playing this? Soaring Thought Thief, Luris, Yorion.
All the companions.
But, like, everything you can get off an ultimatum, you can get rid of.
Except for Tybalt?
No. Yes, that's right. That's right. Because when he's flipped, he's multi. That's correct. Yeah. You got me.
But let's talk about what this does hit, okay? So everything except Faceless Haven in both of the monocolored aggro decks.
Can I just say really quick though that an insane amount of people in my chat thought that this was 2 mana exile target land.
Oh, really?
They really did. Yeah, guys, colorless cards are not monocolored permanents. They are colorless.
They have no color. That's why they call them colorless.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yes. So in order for a card to get hit by this, it either has to have a colored border or it has to have little colored pips up in the top right corner. Okay.
Hmm.
If it doesn't have one of those two things, it will not get hit by this. So I mean, this hits a heck of a lot of good stuff, man. I mean, this hits the Henge,
Yep.
this hits Embercleave.
Yep.
This hits a lot of good creatures in the format. I mean, it hits all of the adventure creatures.
All
it
of
hits
them.
Goldspan Dragon. So I think you're really right to highlight what it doesn't hit. Okay, so what are the things that we generally tend to really need to hit? Because that's the thing. It's like, okay, this not killing Yorion, fine. Like, you not being able to kill Yorion is usually not the reason you lost to a Yorion deck. So, like, what are the cards that we're kind of terrified that we're going to get hosed by? It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to think of them, right?
Not a ton. I mean, you mentioned Tybalt. When you need to kill Tybalt, you need to kill Tybalt, but it also usually means the game went bad for you already.
Soaring Thought Thief is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer. That is that Luris is a big bummer. Like
Luris is a bummer.
That's an important one. But
yeah, so
the fact that you can exile everything else in the mono white deck is a big deal because Selfless Savior is such a card.
Yeah. And I mean, this still hits, if you want to, this still hits a crab. It still hits a,
this hits
Thieves
Shark
Guild
Typhoon.
Enforcer. Yeah, this hits Shark Typhoon.
I might play white in my rogue deck.
Yeah. I mean, this is another reason to never hard cast Shark Typhoon. So Rogues is probably one of the worser matchups for this. Let's think of another deck. This doesn't hit. What's the red green haster in Gruul?
Brushfire Elemental.
Yes, this doesn't hit Brushfire Elemental. That could be a bummer, although that card doesn't see a ton of play right now.
I'm going to say all those cards that we mentioned, though, die to Heartless Act. So,
they do.
Like, this and Heartless Act is boom, bam, or eliminate if you want.
Got your bases covered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, when you go down the list, there's not a lot this hits. You will eventually lose games if you're playing this card to some random card that it doesn't answer.
Clothis.
But yeah, Clothis, exactly. That's a good example.
Yeah.
But but speaking of the gods, this does hit a Heliod, and that's going to feel pretty good, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. This card is a 10 out of 10 banger.
Like, best card in the set, you said. We'll see. I'm not going to disqualify it.
The real question in my mind about this card is which decks play Orzhov. Because that's basically what it comes down to. Yeah,
I'm still looking for the Orzhov identity. Making 2/1s that fly for 3 mana is not it.
Yep, exactly. So, like, Esper Control is the place I'm slotting this into first. But I don't really know. That Esper hasn't been a thing in Standard for a long time, right?
I mean, Doom Foretold, which
kind of
hits every permanent anyway.
Yep.
So that's true. I don't know.
This is unfortunate. The Vanishing Verse does not hit Doom Foretold. So there's another thing.
Yeah, but you're playing Esper, so you're pretty good against Doom Foretold.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Well, excellent card. How about read for us Selfless Glyph Weaver?
This is 2 and a white for a human cleric. That's a 2/3, and you can choose to exile Selfless Glyph Keeper at any time. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn.
Okay.
But whoa. There's more. It's a double-sided card. Because
never saw that coming.
On the other side of our 3-mana 2/3 is an 8-mana black sorcery. Black, and 5. Sorcery. Choose a creature or planeswalker. Then destroy all other creatures and planeswalkers.
Boom. For the low price of 5 black, you two can keep one thing. I mean, what deck wants both sides of this card?
One that plays a lot of creatures but only needs one?
Yeah. And somehow the creatures that you're saving with your 3-drop are all like expensive. It's
Or good. I mean, I'll settle for good,
yes.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, so you saved your Hallow Blade. We really did it.
Luminarch Aspirant. Yeah, like the 2-drops are really good for like white. I don't know about for black. I have trouble wanting to protect my black 2-drops. Maybe Valky. I just don't think you're casting the backside too often. It's like the safety valve.
No.
It's 8 mana. Like you don't plan.
Yeah.
You don't plan on playing it.
No. So the front side has it's the Selfless Spirit clause, right?
Yeah.
Which is it's a powerful effect. So let's not discount that. It is kind of funny though that like in decks that run, like the Doggos and the Hallow Blades, like we already have an abundance of this effect.
Oh yeah.
So I don't really know that this is kind of worth its spot on the curve, right? It's a pretty stacked 3-drops are pretty stacked.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be running this when I could run so many other good white 3-drops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So Selfless Spirit was an amazing card. This card being a mana more and a 2/3, it's kind of a bummer.
Dude, if it were Selfless Spirit, it would be busto. If it were a
amazing.
2-drop, it would be pretty busto because not a 3. But being 3, it's the wrong spot.
Yep, it is. Unfortunately. Okay. How about let's do Mavinda, Student's Advocate. 2 and a white legendary creature bird advisor at Mythic. It is a 2/3 flyer. Okay, for 0 mana, as many times as you want at instant speed, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 generic more mana to cast this way. Okay.
What kind of advice are you giving these students? You're the worst advisor ever.
That is a bribe, man. That's a hell of a bribe. All right. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it. Instead, activate only once each turn. All right. So we get to recast an instant or sorcery from our graveyard this turn. We're heavily incentivized to point it at a creature we control.
Pretty much has to target a creature we control. Let's just lock that in a little bit.
Let's lock that one in.
Let's lock that in.
You have to pay for it.
Yes.
So you don't get it for free.
Yeah.
So I just kind of don't really understand why we're playing this card.
I mean, maybe you Defiant Strike every turn. You don't. You do exile it. Oh god. Okay. You can't even do it like over and over.
Imagine how much worse than Feather the Redeemed this card is. Just imagine it.
And they both have feathers. It makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
Like, what's the difference here? What do we want to target our own creatures with that we are willing to pay from the graveyard? I can only think of Defiant Strike.
Yeah.
Like just and that's just doing it the hard way to draw a card, you know? Maybe you do want a fight spell, a Primal Might. I guess.
Maybe.
How much? Let's ask the real questions. Did they pay for Emma Watson's likeness in this art, or is she just getting is she getting paid out of this at all? Like
that's a really good question.
Hermione is right here talking to the owl who tried to figure out how many licks it took to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, and I'm just not having it. You know, this is another meme on a card. Another one, and you just drank water, and I am sorry. You are coming
that was
really
a close call,
to
buddy.
it out.
That was a close call. My keyboard is not happy about you right now.
That's all that the advocate is doing. This bird advisor is like, Hermione, do you know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
And Hermione's like, surely if I take on another class over the summer, I might be able to figure it out.
Hermione's like, Expelliarmus. Done with you. I have actual magic to perform. Get away from me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Mavinda, quit wasting my mythics, bro. Oh, hallelujah. We finally discovered a mythic that might actually be playable in the set. So, and Covert Go Blue, we might have actually found a mascot for the Arena Craft podcast.
Really?
So why don't you read Mila, Crafty Companion?
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
Dude.
Mila, the crafty companion, is 1 white for a mythic legendary creature, Fox. This is a 2/3 body. And whenever an opponent attacks one or more planeswalkers you control, put a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. But wait.
Boom.
That's just the front side. The backside is Luca, Wayward Bonder, 4 red, 6 total mana for a legendary planeswalker, Luca. 5 loyalty. The +1 ability, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. If a creature card was discarded this way, draw 2 cards instead. Look at all that card advantage on this Boros card, dude.
Damn.
The -2. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of your next upkeep. The beginning of your next upkeep. It chills.
Can even block.
Dude, chills for a turn cycle. Holy cow.
Go.
The Redain is just there. Anyway, -7. You get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Crafties, what's
All
up?
right. Dude, yeah. You know what? Welcome to the fold. Mila, you have become the crafty companion. We're happy to have you. Doggo, I guess we're confirmed a Doggo podcast.
A Foxcast.
Oh, yeah. Foxo podcast. All right. So, I mean, let's talk about the meat of this card, which is whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card.
Oh, yeah, that's printed on the card. I had forgotten.
That's I missed that one little important line of text. So that's a wonderful line of text to have, especially on a 3-drop creature. It's pretty hard to get this thing off the battlefield without the owner of it drawing a card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like any permanent, man, any permanent spell or ability. Like they gave us all, they gave us all the smarties. You know what I mean? We got every color. Like usually they have qualifiers on these abilities that kind of make them less good.
Oh yeah, and then you end up with a target of a spell card, and binding of old gods just eats you for breakfast.
That's it. So basically, there are very few ways to interact favorably with that ability. A wrath effect is one. Sacrifice effect is another.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of two of the main ones.
Not a lot of sacrifice out there.
Yeah, not a lot. So I really like that, and I also like, because this was on. We had a similar effect on the Tusk, the
Battle Mammoth.
Battle Mammoth, right?
Yep.
But that was like a 4 or 5 drop, which is just a whole different ball game. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if here's the question: does this card immediately slot into like our existing white decks? I don't know about that.
It's at the worst spot on the curve.
It is. It is.
It really is. It has this sweet other side where if you are getting into the part of the game where this is outclassed by the bigger things going on, you can play this very large planeswalker that has a ton of abilities. So that's a neat option. This card can just be outbodied by aggro. Paying 3 mana for a 2/3, even with nice text, isn't very exciting if the opponent is playing Annex into Embercleave or Lovestruck Beast into Embercleave. So
it's the weakness of the card.
Yeah, that is the weakness of the card. So I think it's a sideboard card. I think it's a very good card against reactive decks and interactive decks. Like, I mean, it's very annoying for rogues in multiple ways. Any kind of control deck really has to either deal with the front side early or the back side later. And in both cases, it's difficult in a way, and you get value. So I think that's where it lives. I don't know if it's going to... I want this card to make it, because I think it has a lot of things about it that are good. Like, if Professor Onyx, There's a lot of Professor Onyx on the Luca side from the card advantage standpoint and the, minus to get a body kind of thing. But I wish that Professor Onyx had a front side that was a creature like this, because then I'd be really excited about that card.
Oh, that would be gas. Yeah.
I don't know if this card is going to have an impact right away. The cost is the creature is the wrong cost, and the Planeswalker is okay. But I like the card.
Hard agree. And if you do happen to have Planeswalkers on the field when you have Mila, it's going to make life extremely difficult for the opponent.
If they plan to attack them, absolutely. Somebody was saying, I like Oath of Kaya better. That's a completely different card, but I think this is much better at discouraging attacking Planeswalkers than Oath of Kaya was.
Agreed. No, totally agreed. Yeah, I think you're dead on. Like, it doesn't currently have a home, but it is just one of the better cards in the set on its raw power level. So definitely keep an eye on the Foxy. All right.
Man, look at the borderless art. It's a very foxy fox.
It is a very foxy fox. Yep. I'm digging it, man.
Yeah.
Mila, welcome to the show. Mila. We're gonna have to keep some treats now, CGB. All right. Next card, Blot Out the Sky. X, white, black, sorcery at Mythic. Create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying. If X is 6 or more, destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents. All right. This card has an effect.
Non-creature permanents?
Yeah. Non-creature, non-land permanents.
What?
I don't know, man.
So if we pay 8 mana, we make a bunch of 2/1s that are tapped that can't even block, and we blow up
other non-creatures. Yeah, it's a weird clause.
Including our own? Yeah. Okay. And then we get attacked to death. It's good. It's good quality play.
Like, all right, how excited are we to just pay 4 to make 2 tapped 2/1 tokens?
I'm not.
How about paying 5 to make 3?
No.
And it's definitely not getting any better from there, right?
I mean, it gets better assuming that the mana is like somehow free. Maybe you colossal plowed your way into this. I don't know.
Because I think, like, that's the question. Like, at what point does this card become good? I think the difference between making 3 of these and 4 of these is negligible, right? So, I mean, this reads as like a finisher to me, and it's not a particularly good one.
A bunch of tapped flyers? Like, we don't play Starnheim Unleashed.
No, we don't play Starnheim Unleashed, exactly. And this card is certainly not better than that card.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Like, it's like, I mean, there's scenarios in which, like, your opponent makes 3/2/1 flyers, you can't answer them and you die, right? So there's definitely plausible scenarios for, like, when this card can kill you, but that doesn't mean it's a good card.
Well, what are you doing? You're not attacking your opponent for very much. If you were, you would be winning because they're tapped. They're not interacting with the battlefield. They basically time walk themselves. And if you aren't attacking them, then you better have something to counter or kill their stuff. Like, or resolving Emergent Ultimatum. Like, what?
Yeah.
There's just no world where, like, this doesn't do anything better than any other card would in that kind of spot where your opponent is completely helpless and you drew something to put, like, 6 mana into and win the game.
Yeah, imagine, like, okay, you're in the mid game, you tap out for 5 mana, you make 3 of these 2/1 white dudes, right? And then your opponent just cycles Shock Typhoon for 3. Who won in that exchange? That's fun. All right. So how about read for us Humiliate?
This is a white-black sorcery at uncommon. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control.
I mean, it's okay. It's worse than what was the Demir version of this
Thought
card
Erasure.
from? Yeah, Thought Erasure. It's not as
Hmm.
good as Thought Erasure, right?
I mean, it depends. Do you have a creature? If you have a creature, you can make the argument that it's better because it added board presence.
Yeah, yeah. This does not read as an unplayable card to me. I think this card could be okay.
Yeah, especially
Hmm.
if you have some way to take advantage of the counter or you have stats matter bodies like Speaker of the Heavens.
Oh, dude, you know why you're gonna hate this card? Okay, you're playing Heartless Act.
Yeah,
Your
and
opponent has
yeah,
a
yeah,
creature. Yep.
yep,
They remove your eliminate, and then your Heartless Act can't kill that thing, and they kill you. Oh,
yeah,
it's gonna feel so bad.
yeah. This card's all right. I would consider playing this card. It's one of the like you can play it on turn two, but it might be better to play it later to make sure
Hmm.
you get the counter. And
Hmm.
between this card and like it seems like almost every black white card, I just want to play it with the Spellbinder, Elite Spellbinder, which is still
Yeah.
in the running for best card in the set for sure,
Yeah.
because you're just in their hand all the time, making all of their plays awkward while
Yeah.
still having battlefield presence.
Yeah, and I mean, if you cast this after the Spellbinder's out, then you get a 4/2 flyer, which is a good threat. There's, plenty of playable white one drops, right? I mean, let's say you have some kind of cleric thing. You go like Speaker for the Heavens turn one,
Hmm.
Humiliate turn two. It's a strong little curve, I think.
Oh yeah, anything like Usher of the Fallen, you know?
Usher of the Fallen's a good one. Hit for
Yep.
three, that's yeah. Yeah, so okay, this card's definitely in consideration. All right. Why don't you hit Gnarled Professor?
Gnarly Professor is two
Gnarly.
green for a tree folk druid at rare 5/4 trample.
Gnarly, dude.
I was reading a card.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
When gnarly, dude.
Gnarly.
Okay, now we're memeing. They got us. Okay. When gnarly professor, dude, enters the battlefield, you learn.
All right, is this the learn card to get us on the learn bandwagon?
I'm not paying 4 mana for a 5/4 trample draw card in this meta. Why would I do
No.
it for a learn card?
No.
I mean,
How
that's
far
not. It's
how
okay,
far
but
off is it? It's not terrible.
it's not. It's not incredibly far off, but it's also
Mhm.
not questing beast.
No,
You know,
that's the problem. Yeah,
I
it's
would
not
much rather
Questing
dome
Beast.
my opponent and kill their
Yeah.
planeswalker.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't compare favorably to other green creatures at the spot.
Is this better or worse than Asika's Chariot?
That is the measure, right? That is the measure of it.
Kind of.
Okay, I'll give you, in some cases this could be better.
I think it's worse as a if you're trying to play the Chariot to defend yourself, and it's potentially better if you're aggressive.
Yeah. But this is okay. This is like close. I'm gonna call this card close. If
Yeah.
if it's a miss, it's a closer miss.
It's not a
Um,
disaster,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's on the level right now. Like, what deck plays it?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like this is like 10 to 20% south of playable at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, does the Golgari deck play it? I'm sorry, what is it called? Witherbloom? Does Witherbloom
Witherbloom.
play it? Does Quandrix play it? You know, those are the two
Yeah.
colleges in green.
Yeah, you have better things to be doing if you're playing any kind of like adventure deck or, Gruul. So yeah, it doesn't line up well at the moment. Okay. All right. Why don't you read the Biblioplex?
Okay.
Oh, and I skipped one, so we'll come back to that too. Okay.
The Biblioplex is a land. It taps for a colorless mana, but you can also pay 2 and tap the Biblioplex and look at the top card of your library. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put the card into your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. Activate only if you have exactly 0 or 7 cards in your hand.
Oh, dude.
What?
Oh, no. This is not, what was it, Library of Alexandria?
Well, that didn't. You didn't even have to pay 2 mana to use that.
No.
That just tapped to draw a card
That
if you
just
had
drew a
exactly
card.
7.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Yeah, nah.
This is a cheap imitation of the Library of
Bruh.
Alexandria.
You had me until that last sentence.
I mean, 0 cards? Like, that's so terrible. Like, you don't want to be there. And 7? That's so win more. You must have something better to do with your mana.
That's it. Yeah, it's at 7 cards, it's heinous. At 0 cards, okay, fine, but like I'd probably rather just have a castle at that point, right? Wouldn't you just rather have like a castle Vantress?
Obligatory, not legendary, by the way.
Yep, that's true. Not legendary.
It should be, just so that you can't trick yourself into playing 2 copies.
Yeah, all right. Well.
I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Well. Let's see if Retriever Phoenix does anything for us here. 3 and a red. Creature Phoenix at rare 2/2. Flying haste. It's another trap Phoenix, CGB. When Retriever Phoenix enters the battlefield, if you cast it, learn.
Woo!
As long as Retriever Phoenix is in your graveyard, if you would learn, you may instead return Retriever Phoenix to the battlefield. So, in other words, you should always do that because then you get the Phoenix and you get to learn. But boy, oh boy, a 2/2 haste flyer for 4?
For 4.
Brutal, bro.
Not in this economy, man. It's a mana too much, right?
Absolutely a mana too much. And again, like one of the problems, all right, so learn, as we've been stressing, is a slow mechanic. All right, slow mechanic. Like you don't put your 2/2 haster into a slow, like it's a mismatch. It's a thematic mismatch. So like I guess if you have like a red deck that just wants to learn a lot, then this could end up being kind of annoying, right? Like it's just keeps coming back, like you can't kill it. It keeps coming back, right? But like, like how many times are we realistically learning in a game?
I'm
like,
not.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I always come down hard on these Phoenixes because I always think they're awful. And this one is looking like one of the worst to me.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot that can justify this with the cards I've seen. There would have to be something I haven't seen yet that would be like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this is a fun little spicy one. Bayou Groff. 1 and a green, creature, plant, dog. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 3. But it is a 5/4. Can I interest you in an overstated card like this?
Can I interest you in every single 2-mana removal spell in this set, as well as Eliminate and Heartless Act?
Sold.
Good talk.
Right. Good talk. Let's keep going. Ooh. This is an interesting card. Why don't you read Day Mogoth Woe Eater for us?
This is 1 and a weird hybrid plus a black plus a green cycle of nonsense card. Creature demon, uncommon. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Okay. It's a 7/6, by the way. I may have forgotten that point.
It's pretty chunky.
It's a 4-mana 7/6. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. When you sacrifice this card, each opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and you gain 2 life. It's Doom Foretold on a creature.
It's Doom Foretold.
That only hits you. You just Doom Foretell yourself.
How bad is this card really?
Terrible.
I don't know, man.
Really?
I mean, okay.
What are you gonna do? What's the line? You tell me the line.
So it's basically a rotting Regisaur, right? But instead of discarding a card, you have to sacrifice a creature.
That's very different. Like
Okay,
to have
fair.
to have a creature, you have to pay the mana to put it on the battlefield, and you have to play this card in your deck. So it has to be a worthy part of your deck.
That's true. God, this card is just so much worse with cards like Love Struck Beast in the format. You know, it's 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 just annoying me, man. Okay, so let's say that you can't let's say that you can pay the cost, right? And this is a really big threat. I don't know. That's a big threat that your opponent has to deal with. It also does a very good job of doing things like turning on the Great Henge, right? Um, so it blocks well. I don't know. The sack clause sucks. I give
Yeah,
you
yeah.
that.
Okay.
It sucks, right? Let's assume that you build your deck in a way in which that's not the worst thing that ever happened to you.
You're gonna feed the demon a goat.
Yeah, you
Okay.
feed the demon a goat. You
Okay.
have a huge beta. Your opponent has to respect it. You know, you can like I think one of the ideas with this creature is that it might turn into the abyss, right? Your opponent
Okay.
has to chump block it. You have to so it basically chomps on a creature every turn on both sides.
Okay.
Um,
You're
if
asking that they can't kill it
Yeah, that's true. I
after you
mean,
had to
so
sacrifice a creature or two.
that's the worst,
That's
right?
really
Is that
nasty.
with the trigger on the stack, like you go to your upkeep, you sack a creature with the trigger on the stack, they kill this, and then you cry.
Yeah, isn't Brazen Borrower just so mean?
Yeah, Brazen Borrower is nasty, right? I will say that those were both true as well of Rotting Regisaur, and people still played that card. So I think that that's what this needs to be compared to, I think.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
it doesn't come down on turn 3, so that sucks. I do like the fact that you can just cash this in, right? And you basically create a 2-card swing and you gain 2 life.
I wish it made a 2/2 like Doom Foretold did.
That would be cool.
I want some board presence out of my
you want
investment. I
you want
do.
something to make up for it.
I do. I got
So
scammed to play this card and I want a refund.
this th- this card is a thought experiment. I am not clamoring to put this card into a deck, but I think that this card is like, I don't know. I think this card would have been playable a few years ago, and I think it's interesting. How does this card compare? You know what? Egon, is that the one? The god
Yep.
Egon? Yeah. Kind of craps all over this card, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
All
does.
right. Well, that was fun. Um,
Good job.
all right, good
Can
talk.
I read our next meme?
Yes, please do.
All right. Pestilent Cauldron is 2 and a black for an artifact. Is rare. You can tap it to discard a card and create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. 1 and a tap, each opponent
Wait, you
mills.
have to discard a card to do that?
You do.
Okay. Sorry. I
Fine.
just had to interrupt you with disbelief.
Yeah, you
All right.
do. You can
All right.
discard a card from your
Sorry.
hand to make a 1/1.
Sorry.
That's
I lost track of myself there. Forgive me.
It's
Please
okay.
continue.
I am also struggling to believe. 1 and a tap. Each opponent mills cards equal to the amount of life you gained this turn.
Okay.
4 and a tap. Exile 4 target cards from a single graveyard to draw 1 card.
Okay.
But wait, it's a
But wait,
DFC.
there's
There's
more.
another side to this card. It's called Restorative Burst. It's a sorcery. It is 3 green green, so 5 total mana. Return up to 2 target creature, land, and or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each player gains 4 life.
Each player gains 4 life?
Each player gains 4 life. Exile Restorative
Why?
Burst. I don't know. I don't know why.
It was just too good otherwise. Okay. Okay. What? Dude, I feel like if I submitted this card in my job application to WotC, they would have freaking laughed me out of the
would.
room.
They would. Better cards have
What?
been submitted. I guarantee it.
What? What?
I look. For 4 mana, you can exile 4 cards from your graveyard and draw a card. Can you imagine how Rogues feels about that?
It's while just a dagger in their
heart.
While
they beat you to death.
It's just they spent 2 mana to mill 4 cards into your hand, and meanwhile you spent 4 mana to get them back out. Yeah. You did it.
Or
isn't this such a joke maybe? As well? I mean, bad. You can play Egon, right? You can play the other side of Egon for 1 mana on the first turn of the game. Yeah. Yep. That is a thing you can do. And it's not happening in standard right now. Wow.
Next meme.
Okay. Meme Haven.
Welcome back to the Magic Meme Show.
Let's... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. All right. So Containment Breach. 2 and a green. Sorcery less than that uncommon. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay, cool. If its mana value is 2 or less, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with this. When this creature dies, you gain 1 life. I'm in. Sign me up.
Dude, Lucky Clover is in so much trouble.
It's such a problem, man.
Witch's Oven, we're done with that.
We're doing it.
This card's fine.
This card's fine. If you're learning, this card's fine.
You know, I might even put like two of these in my lesson board because it's probably better than other stuff. And I might need to kill 2 artifacts someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
I dig it. All right, we're going to take a second swing on this Daemogoth thing, CGB. Why don't you read Daemogoth Titan for us?
Hybrid Witherbloom, hybrid Witherbloom, hybrid Witherbloom, hybrid Witherbloom. That is 4 hybrid green-black manas. For an 11/10. You heard me. An 11/10 creature demon.
All the Timmies just shook in their seats.
They all poggered. Whenever this card attacks or blocks, sacrifice a creature.
All right. Better or worse than the last card we discussed like this?
It's a good question. I mean, it is optional to do things like attack or block. Therefore, you're not required. Like, you can just put this on empty board, then next turn play your creature or bring back your Woe Strider and then attack with it. This, I think it's better. Wow. Like, how much do we have to push the stats to make something like this playable in 2021, man? 11/10 for 4?
That's the question, right? That's the question. I mean, it is thick. There is no question this card is thick.
Shout out to Chris Cold on a killer art. Like, that thing is terrifying.
Yeah. Dude, he's your new favorite Magic artist, huh?
He did the Icebreaker Kraken. His name's Chris Cold. Yeah. I'm never going to forget him.
Love it.
Like, the branding's perfect.
Recognition. ACP art review. A+. Daemogoth Titan. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, you have to block this thing.
You do. This one is much closer to the Abyss than the 7/6.
Yes, that's true. Like, this is definitely a must block. Is there anything apart from flinging this we can do to make its 11 power just like really good?
Yeah, you can Ember Cleave.
Yeah, let's Ember Cleave it.
No, the mana's pretty tricky. No, I was gonna say the Garrick's. What's the 3 mana enchantment?
Oh, Garrick's Uprising.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's trample.
That's a combo. That is a wombo combo. I do like that you can play this in mono green Stompy. That's pretty cool.
Is there a way to double strike it?
Double strike. If you play the other CCCC, the Boros one.
Sounds like a world tree. All right.
Okay. Do we ever put Maul of the Skyclaves on this?
Idantha Triome. It's more doable than an Embercleave.
Yeah.
This thing is this will hit you. And if you have a way to consistently make creatures, then you're doing well. And Woe Strider comes to mind. Yeah.
No, wait. Primalmite doesn't grant trample, does it?
It doesn't.
Okay. Okay. How about the trample equipment?
Garrick. Just 4 mana Garrick.
Oh, Garrick.
There you go.
Bad. It's not bad.
And then you ram through, and you deal the opponent like 20-some damage.
Oh, we did it. We just did it.
That's kind of a beating. That's a lot. All you need is something to sacrifice.
This thing fights for days.
It does. You can ram through without it getting into the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
This card's okay. There's got to be
So
uses for this card.
this card is probably just better than the make a creature the size of your deck card, right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
2 mana less is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you can really build a deck around this and it'll always work. I'm almost looking at this like, is there a way that this is just a sideboard card and you bring it in against decks that don't have spot removal and have like damage based removal?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. It's interesting. This at least makes me want to brew.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. I mean, this and Kazul's Fury, it's pretty gas.
If you can get around the 4 hybrids without Jund Triome, that will do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's tricky, but it's doable.
All right. Well, you're on the board, Damagoth.
Okay.
We are paying attention.
That is a card.
That's a card. How about let's do Sedgemoor Witch. 2 and a black, creature, human, warlock at rare with menace. It is a 3/2 ward. Pay 3 life. So your opponent has to pay 3 life whenever they target it, if they don't want that whatever targeted it to get countered. And it has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. So these pest tokens are a Witherbloom thing. Boy. Probably not.
It actually seems really good. It's like a young pyromancer in black.
It is like a young pyromancer.
And it's better than the elementals because you gain a life and you can't target it easily.
It costs more. It still sucks to get it bone crushed.
I mean, does it? You pay 3 life.
Yeah,
and
but
counter it. Like, that's pretty good.
Wait, hold on. No, that player needs to pay 3 life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they bone crush it and they just have to pay 3.
I guess if you're pressuring them, though, that's really good.
It could hurt.
I mean, you are a 3/2 body, so you can attack decently. So if you curved a Dece 1 drop into a Dece 2 drop into a Dece 3 drop, and this was it, and they targeted it with a removal spell, you make the 3 life matter. That's good.
I mean, this goes well into like a Village Rites deck, I would say.
Yeah. There you go. This card's okay, but what the heck?
So one of the problems is that that's a creature deck, and this wants you to Magecraft, right? So
I mean, once again, we have to play our creature deck with a bunch of spells somehow, and it's weird.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
It's a weird card. I see the potential that you see in this card, but this reads to me like one of those cards that just doesn't make the list, right? Like. You draft up the deck and this one gets sidelined.
Yeah, really need something to do with the bodies. You need the spells. I'm thinking like Claim the Firstborn, Village Rites.
Mm-hmm. This has a lot of Ayara to it, right? Like you can make an argument for playing it, but in the end you just don't.
Ayara is way worse than this.
You think so?
Yes. I think this has much more potential, but it might in the end not be that good. So
yeah, I mean it's got enough text on it, but I'm still coming down on the pessimistic side.
I can tell. So let's go heal mode. What the hell? It says it's a witch and it's a warlock.
Yeah, that is just come on, man.
What?
Come on, man.
Nope. Somebody in the comments is gonna get out their professor glasses and tell me the history of warlocks and witches. But just as somebody who is a casual fan of like fantasy, I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to work.
Dude, like witch is a common creature type. Why are you giving us a warlock on a witch?
Yeah, which witch is a warlock and which witch is a witch? Doesn't make any sense.
That was the cleverest thing that has happened in this entire set so far. Well done, CGB. You did it. You really did it. Okay. Harness Infinity. Dun 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 dun. One black, 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 green, green, green. Yes, that is what this card costs. It is a mythic instant. Exchange your hand and graveyard. Exile Harness Infinity. Boom.
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 Boom. Suck it, rogues.
Yeah, dude. For the small price of 7 mana, you too can attempt to resolve a spell against rogues. It's a powerful card.
I love this card.
I mean, yeah. You wanna just resolve this card and do the thing.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. And I don't care if I win or lose. I'm gonna at some point play it. Oh my goodness, yeah.
How does this line up against Eerie Ultimatum as an example?
Eerie Ultimatum, that's probably a better card by a lot because the cards come directly into play.
However, let's say that you cast like a lot of removal spells and stuff.
Yep.
You know?
Now this is probably going to get you a little bit more, and putting it into play wasn't a downside. So this is a control card, which is probably why I'm excited.
I mean, okay, it being an instant is like so much better than Eerie Ultimatum.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, this is a hell of an instant, man.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I want to do? This is what I want to do. I want to cast Torrential Galehawk in Historic, targeting Harness Infinity. That's what I want to do.
Which you put there by discarding somehow, by looting.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe I cast it the first time, and then I'm getting it back the second time.
Yeah, get it all again. Why not? Let's go. I mean, if you cast it the first time, it exiles itself, but who cares about these details?
So this card is actually really powerful. So the question is, like, I don't know, like, how serious are we about actually trying to do the thing?
I mean, I want to do it. I want to play the Sultai control. So if you follow like standard really closely, a deck that's been doing well and won a recent online challenge is basically Sultai Ultimatum, but with no ultimatums and a bunch of counters and Shark Typhoons instead. Like, it's all the shell, but you take out Cultivate and you keep binding and you take out all the 7 drops and you put in Negate and Shark Typhoon. So like Sultai control is already a bit of an off-meta choice, trending in a direction. You could play Coma and try to win the game with Coma, or you could play Harness Infinity and make the game even longer and more ridiculous. It is worth noting, this does not give you a no maximum hand size clause.
No, it does not.
So that could be an issue against rogues.
Yeah. So the other thing that sucks, CGB, is if you put this on the stack and your opponent exiles your graveyard in response. That's gotta feel
nobody
pretty bad.
does that. It's never happened.
Nope, it's not going to happen.
No,
we don't
not
have
gonna
Tomots Crypt in the format.
Yeah. Dude, this is the play. The opponent targets your Elder Gargaroth with Drown in the Lock, and you respond by casting this.
Okay.
As long as you didn't have 5 cards in your hand, as long as you had like less than 4 or less cards, it fizzles the Drown in the Lock.
Oh, that's right. Sick.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. It's a powerful card.
It's a cool
I expect people to. Yeah, I expect people to try this, and it could actually be good. This, I put this in the category with Sublime Epiphany, right? It's that kind of a card. Like, doesn't see a lot of serious play.
Yep.
Is very powerful.
Yes.
And every once in a while, cards like this really hit, and then they're actually busted.
And then they're the hero. Then you're the hero of the day.
Yep. But like someone's gonna cast this like CGB. Someone at the pre-release is gonna cast this, and it's gonna be amazing. All right. So okay. I have to read this. I just have to read this for the memes. Zephyr Boots. Artifact, cost 1 generic mana. Artifact equipment at uncommon. Equipped creature has flying. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. Equip 2. CGB. We have Smuggler's Copter in the format again.
That's why you wanted to read that?
Smuggler's Copter is back.
No. I'm not going to pay off that joke.
He's just putting the kibosh on that one. All right. Well, why don't you wash away my meminess with a serious card in the form of reading Bleck's Vexing Pest.
Bleck's Vexing Pest is 2 and a green for a 3/2 legendary creature. Pest is a mythic. And other pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders you control get +1/+1. When the Vexing Pest dies, you gain 4 life. But wait, it's a double face card. Search for Bleck's is 2 and a black sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put any number of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You lose 3 life for each card you put into your hand this way. So you can pay 15 life to draw
5 for 4 mana. We're doing it.
What? Is this a card?
I could see, like, in a control mirror, you just like, boom, do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably better than a 3-mana 3/2 that gains 4 life when it dies in a control mirror.
Blacks helps you cast the backside, man. Weird card.
It's another meme.
Yeah.
Bats, insects, snakes. Like, where do they come up with this crap?
This and Kahera, man. You just put them in the same deck, you know? You get all your bases covered.
Yeah, I don't know. Dude,
the front side of this card is obviously a meme. Let's talk about the backside. So you get to select, you get to dig 5 deep for something. If you're looking for like a trump card, then you pay 3 mana for it. I mean, 3 life for it, right?
Okay. Yep.
You could get 2 cards and pay 6 life, which again, like I'm only thinking this is going to matter in a control matchup where your opponent's not trying to beat you down. It's a sorcery, so that's bad in a control matchup. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with a scenario for what might actually motivate you to seriously play this backside card.
I can't help you.
It's probably yeah.
I can't do it, man.
Yeah, I tried.
Do you remember Gather the Pack from Innistrad?
By
Shadows
name,
over Innistrad.
It
was like 2 mana. Look at your top 5. You put a creature into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. And if you have Delirium, you put 2 creatures into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Yeah. Like, that's half the cost of Search for Bleck's. Half. And that card was just a little playable for Delirium. Like, this isn't close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bummer. All right. How about... Why don't you read Belladros Witherbloom then?
Okay.
Next, Elder Dragon.
Great. 5 black, green, 7 total mana. Legendary creature, Elder Dragon, 4/4. All right. We've got a
4/4 for 7 mana.
4/4 flyer. This better be good.
Wowzers.
At the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token. With when it dies, you gain 1 life. So that's like Verdant Force on a dragon, I guess.
No, that's like Coma World.
No, and don't you dare invoke the good name of Coma. Anyway, there's one more ability. It's the Bazinga. You ready?
All right.
Pay 10 life. Untap all lands you control. Activate this once per turn.
Okay. Wow. 4/4 for 7.
You know the meme on a card thing?
Yeah.
So this is, Mom, can we get Wilderness Reclamation? And Mom says, we have Wilderness Reclamation at home. And this is Wilderness Reclamation at home.
Yeah. Oh my goodness,
I thought it
man.
was Jorn, but it's definitely this.
Oh my goodness, dude. I don't even know.
Okay. We've talked about Control Mirror where life total doesn't matter and that Search for Blex might be a card there. The problem is if you're in a matchup where life total doesn't matter or you somehow have 10 life around, then like it's going to get countered, right? It's a 7-mana
counted or
play.
killed.
It's a 7-mana
Counted or
play.
killed. I mean, multiple 2-mana interaction spells in standard that just deal with this immediately.
It's kind of nuts in Commander where you have 40 life.
Yeah, I guess. Comes down on, yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, it's Commander, like that you get to do stuff for 7 mana in Commander.
Yeah, I guess you do. I guess you do.
You don't here. This is. I at least admire the big effect, but once again, 7 mana and it's 4/4.
Yes, couldn't they have made it like a 6/6 at least? Come on.
Why
man.
not?
Come on.
How is that
man.
OP? I don't.
Yeah.
Lovestruck Beast is bigger, and you get a 1/1.
They could have made it a 7/7, and then it would have been like that. Who's that guy that draws you 7 cards when you pay 7 life? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Grizzlebrand. That was 8 mana, though.
Yeah.
That was 8 mana.
Okay. Well, they still could have made it a 7/7. I don't think it would have hurt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. You're right. Why are the dragons memes, man? Why?
Yeah, dude. Come on, man. 7 mana. 7.
Okay.
Mana.
Here's my theory.
All right.
There's the 5 pre-construct, like new player decks. For the different
going into them
for the different houses, right? And these are probably in each one. They didn't want to make them good.
They just couldn't possibly give someone buying a pre-constructed Magic product a good card.
Yeah, the Dean and probably the Dragon are in each of those because all of those cards are like insane amounts of text that are incredibly understated. I feel really bad for the new player who takes these cards to a tournament and like just gets absolutely rolled by everything else. Like they thought they had it, man. They had a double-sided Dean. They had a legendary Elder Dragon, and this is what they had. Oh
yeah, it's savage. It is just literally savage. All right, how about Callous Blood Mage? 2 and a black creature, vampire, warlock at rare. It is a 2/1. And when it ETBs, you choose one. You either get to make a 1/1 pest with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life, or you draw a card and you lose 1 life, or you exile target player's graveyard. Okay, this card's not terrible.
It's okay.
It's okay, right? It's not amazing, but I mean, most of the time you probably just draw the card and lose the life, right?
Yeah, that's got to be the default. The exile thing has to be for a very special situation, although it's good against rogues and good against Rakdos because it's target
good
player.
Against cycling.
Yeah, good against cycling. Yeah. That's true. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is not what you want to be doing if you're in a stats race. So
that's true.
It's not like if your deck has a ton of creatures, like this is not probably what you're playing because you're going to fall behind the person playing Lovestruck Beast, playing Bone Crusher Giant. So you want to play this probably in something that also has removal spells. So if you're playing it in that deck, you're willing to play a longer game, so you need a finisher. What's your finisher? Like, what is your over-the-top plan? That's going to be the question, but this card's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's decent. Costs 3 mana.
This is 2 bodies to go with the 11/10.
There you go.
There you go. That's your big plan. I mean, that's not insane.
It's something.
Between this and Woe Strider, you can probably attack a few times with that sucker if they can't kill it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's true. It does make more bodies, right? We've had several cards we looked at that want you to have more bodies.
Yeah, this card's good.
So
it's a blue card.
Plus it's just got enough. It's got enough modes and etc. etc. It's going to be useful in pretty much every game. So I like that. Okay, why don't you read Poet's Quill?
Oh, gladly. Does it rhyme? 1 and a black, but it cannot attack. It's an artifact equipment, but I can't rhyme it. anymore.
With the shipment.
It's just nothing. Anyway, when Poet's Quill enters the battlefield, you learn, and equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has lifelink, and it equips for 1 and a black. It's a very simple little card.
Is this the learn card we've been waiting for?
No.
Probably not.
I don't think it's a good enough buff, and 2 mana to equip it's a chunk. It's not cheap. +1/+1's a small bonus.
I don't think so. If the equip cost was 1 generic mana, would we be in for this card?
I'd be thinking it, yeah, because then it's pretty close to a Shadow Spear, which came close in its time. Like, this is okay.
That's what I'd be looking for on this card. So this card reads as close, but no cigar to me.
If it were a Shadow Spear, if it gave trample and lifelink, I would be all over it because of the 11/10.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, because of the 11/10.
Yeah. No, I mean this card. This card's close. This card's really close. How about? All right.
Here we go again. You want me? Wait, I just read one. You have to read this meme.
I have to read this.
You do.
Oh my god.
I have no sympathy. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Let's go. Do your job. The crafties demand it.
You know when this is what this feels like. You know when you're at the bar and you've already had like 7 shots and your friends are like, another round, and you're like literally like, oh my god, like I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can keep up, man.
You are describing the college experience very well.
I am, dude. Oh my god, this is like the end of spring break. This is how I feel right now. Okay. Whew. All right, we're doing this. Jadzi, Oracle of Arcavios, 6 blue, legendary creature, human wizard at Mythic. It is a 5/5 for 8 mana. Kovoko blue.
It's good rate.
All right.
It's good.
It's the going rate, man. That's what the economy's like, I guess. Discard a card. Return Jadzi, Oracle of Arcavios to its owner's hand so you can cast it again for 8 mana. Mage Craft. When you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it by paying 1 mana rather than paying its mana cost. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Because we really need to ramp after we cast this. All right, but wait, there's more. Journey to the Oracle. 2 green. Sorcery. You may put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Then, if you control 8 or more lands, you may discard a card. If you do, return Journey to the Oracle to its owner's hand. We don't just get it back, man. We have to discard a card. Okay. Come on, man. Wizards. I'm trying to sell your product here. All right? We have an audience that wants to play Magic. I'm trying. All right.
Oh my god.
What the ever-loving fluff? Okay, can we? What are we doing with this card, CGB? You can put... Okay, let's start with the back. All right, let's start with the back.
Okay.
Put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield. When might we have a lot of lands we want to draw? Ever?
I mean, when you're really, really unlucky?
Yep. And this is really going to turn it around. Okay, so somehow you got a bunch of... So the card I said when I saw this was Yasharn? Yep, Yasharn is a thing.
I mean, just a reminder, all you did was cast Migration Path. Because, like... And you didn't even get the cards out of your deck. You just put cards from your hand. It's so...
Like...
How about... Okay. The Kraken. The Icebreaker Kraken.
The Icebreaker Kraken.
You just bounce the lands and then to return the Kraken. Then you discard the Kraken. It's a combo. You discard the Kraken just to get it back.
We really did it. Yeah, we really did it. I mean, so okay, I don't know what we're doing with this. The backside reads like a combo card to me. I saw someone post a thing on Facebook in some older format, which is like a return everyone's lands to their hands card, and then you play this. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, do we even have to tackle the front side? Because I just like what?
Dude, you can discard a card to return this 8 mana
It's
5/5
eight
to your
drop.
hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude.
So my let me get this straight. My 8 drop allows me to, when I cast an instant or sorcery, reveal the top card of my library. And if it's a non-land card, okay, I can cast it by paying 1. Okay.
And if it is an instant or sorcery, it triggers itself again.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. It's open-ended.
So we cascade off with this
Yeah,
thing?
it doesn't say once per turn. You still have to pay 1. You don't get it for free, but...
Mm-hmm. Cool story, bro. All right. Maybe this is a fun commander at some point.
Why? Okay, I mean, I don't know how close we are to the end and if you want to save this to the end, but I mean, is there a discussion to be had here? Why don't I want to figure out these cards? Why does my brain just revolt against this?
Dude, they're nonsense. Like actual factual nonsense. 8 mana.
Like we just like what we've learned about Magic for the years that we've played it and tried to get better at it is that this doesn't work. And then there's just mythic and rare after mythic and rare being like, hey, do this thing that you know doesn't work, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Okay. It's killing me.
You are right.
I can tell it's killing you. It's killing me. You know?
I'm struggling. I'm struggling, man. Like I really want to be excited about new cards, I really do.
Well, let's go find some.
All right.
We just have to make the reviews a little more vicious and a little quicker, and we can get it done.
Okay. All right.
Here, I'll show you. Tempted by the Auric. 1 blue sorcery. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player's control with mana value 3 or less. This is 1 more for Alola Mage's domination. Next card.
Next card. Good in Commander, though. Okay. Next card. How about 10 the Pests, black-green, instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature, create X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with. Then when this creature dies, you gain 1 life, where X is sacrifice creature's power. I don't know, man. What do you think? Could make like 5 tokens with Lovestruck Beast?
Crowan Corvold, like steal their thing, sacrifice it, make dorks. I would rather Village Rites, but it's better than sacking it to a Woe Strider for a Scry.
This feeds our dude, right? 11/10.
It does. It does. You can also pitch the 11/10 if they target it with something to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. This also is a token maker. We were wondering about tokens. This makes tokens.
This isn't terrible. I just don't know if it's better than Witch's Oven and Village Rites. 2 mana is literally double what 1 mana is.
I agree. This is like a niche card. It's possible as a deck that wants you to just vomit a bunch of pests out and then you play this in some number, but just good to know about. Okay, why don't you read Reject for us, or Reject, depending on whether you want it to be a verb or a noun.
What are you trying to say? 1 in a blue, instant, counter target creature or planeswalker unless its controller pays 3. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. So a 2 mana exile effect that's just for creatures or planeswalkers, and you can pay your way through it. I think it's awesome that the art as a goblin looking stupid and getting rejected by a blue mage, and that the source, the person who spoiled it, is Jim Davis, who I thoroughly thumped his goblin decks with my Yorion decks. So this is working for me. I hope he mentioned me when he revealed it. I hope that there are still scars on his psyche. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to play this card instead of Essence Scatter or Negate, though. I was going to
say, worse than Essence Scatter most of the time. Yeah. It's a card to know about. It's a card that shows up in certain meta games, I think.
I would say it's an option. It seems pretty far off for me. You would have to really hate Croxa, Something like that. I mean, picture trying to hit an ox with this. They usually have the 3. It's only 2 mana to bring back the ox.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So maybe not.
How about Mortality
Boy.
Spear?
Yeah, I was considering it. Okay, why don't you read it?
2 black green instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast. If you gain life this turn, destroy target non-land permanent. It's Assassin's Trophy that doesn't ramp.
Yeah, costs 4 most of the time.
You can gain life. There's ways to do it. You know? Yeah.
I'm trying to think about like the most common ways that we're gaining life in standard at the moment.
Pests that die. I mean, this card is probably going to see some amount of historic play as long as Cat Oven is a thing.
Yeah,
and Cat Oven was supposed to be a thing in standard, and it's not. But obviously, if you're paying 4 for it, it's a bad Bind the Old Gods. Like an instant speed front chapter of Bind the Old Gods.
We have to remember we still do have food in standard.
We do.
So, you know, like this could go straight into like some kind of yeah, like so it's like a Golgari food build, you know? We've seen them before. We could see them again.
The pests strike me as a great way to gain life in this format. You just chump block with your 1/1, gain 1 life, and then crack this off, you know?
Yeah. Cool card.
Yeah.
Probably shows up. It's not painful
I think so.
to cast the full cost for it either. Okay, read that one for us.
Ingenious Mastery. X 2 blue. Rare sorcery. You may pay 2 and a blue rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Here it comes. You ready? Prepare for disappointment. All right. If the 2 and a blue cost was paid, you draw 3 cards. Then an opponent creates 2 treasure tokens and they scry 2. If the cost wasn't paid, you draw X cards.
You draw X cards?
Yeah.
That was what we were waiting for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can draw...
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. How does this work? So if you decide to pay the alternate cost,
you draw 3.
You draw 3.
But the opponent gets 2 treasures and a scry 2.
Okay, so basically you get like a really bad divination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then if you don't, it's just a really bad Sphinx's Rev.
Yeah.
So in other words, this card's really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Glad we figured that out.
Your opponent needs to have basically no ways whatsoever to punish you for that 3 mana draw 3. I mean, do that to an ultimatum. Give them 2 free mana. See how that works out for you casting your sorcery.
Yep. Okay. Well, now we know. How about, I'm looking at this card Flunk. Let's see. 1 and a black instant. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. I'm just reading the cheat cards, CGB.
Yeah, do it.
Where X is 7 minus the number of cards in that creature's controller's hand. 7 minus the number. Okay, so if they have 6 cards, it's a -1/-1. If they have 5 cards, it's a -2/-2. Scales accordingly. Yeah, seems like it's going to hit most of the time, right?
Heartless Act. Eliminate. Or this.
Sure. But I don't know. Like, okay, do we play this against like the mono white deck?
You could. How many Grasp of Darkness have you encountered? I know Grasp is harder to cast.
Oh, wait, that's still in the format, isn't it?
Yeah. If we Dead Weight is in the format, Myers Grasp is in the format.
Dead Weight's probably just better.
I mean, look, it's an option, but
it's a good card to know about.
It's rare that it's going to be the best or better option.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Why don't you read Auric Lore Mage?
2 black, 3/3 human warlock at rare. Tap. Search your library for a card. put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. If it's an instant or sorcery card, put a +1/+1 counter on the Auric Lore Mage.
We really did it.
This card flunked.
We really did it, man.
Right. It's another meme. Okay, 4 mana, 3/3, with an ability that you have to tap for. Like it has to survive a turn, and you have to just be okay with doing a 4 mana 3/3. We don't have to explain anymore, I think, why this sucks, but here they are. They keep coming.
We sure don't. Let's see if Culling Ritual is any good. 2 black-green, sorcery at rare. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. Interesting card. You know what this reminds me of a little bit is Yahenni's Expertise.
Okay.
This card is very narrow. You're probably only playing it against people who are like going wide with a bunch of cheap stuff. There are scenarios in which this like rats your opponent's board and lets you cast another thing, and when that happens, it will be busted.
This also hits their food, their cat, their oven, their trail of crumbs, their lucky clover, their Edgewall Innkeeper.
I mean, there's a fair amount of stuff this hits.
Their Wolfwillow Havens, their Omens of the Sea.
It kills their Anax tokens, and you know what I mean. So meh. It's hard to imagine main decking it. Perhaps it comes in out of a sideboard.
Is there a deck that this doesn't hit at all? That this is a complete Stone Cold whiff against? Like it does crush all of the rogues things. They are a Luris deck.
Dude, you know what would be savage? Okay, check this out. You're playing against Sultai, right? And they go like turn 2 Wolfwillow Haven into like turn 3 Tome, or maybe they play like 2 Wolfwillow Havens, right? And then you just freaking Culling Ritual them.
It's pretty good. Like sick. So that's the matchup where you would expect this to be at its worst, but there is a range where you get to do that. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
That's why I ask, like, what matchup is this Stone Cold dead in?
Yeah.
Is there one?
I have to say that although it does hit like Lovestruck Beast tokens and Innkeepers and stuff, this doesn't seem good against Adventures to me.
Not if they got to draw off their Innkeeper twice already. It's pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Not good against that. Although, like Naya Adventure, this probably hits plenty of things in that deck. That deck's all about pooping out.
Oh, yeah. The Clarion, the Sentinel, and all of their ilk.
All of that crap, right? Yeah. So this is probably fairly good against that deck, I would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said,
control decks, like Dimir Control, you might get their Tome. That's it.
Yeah, Tome. This also could be fairly annoying, like for Yorion decks, right? Like, let's say the Yorion decks, they have a Birth of Meletus wall, they have a couple of Omens, maybe they have a live Birth of Meletus at the time. Like, you could definitely. I mean, one thing this card doesn't get you is card advantage, but it does get you mana advantage. So, I don't know, man. This card's in consideration.
Are you blowing up your own stuff? And then what are you doing with the mana? Do you have something cool to do with the mana? Like, you're not going to activate your Maze Mind Tome, you just killed it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm curious.
There are scenarios in which that's doable. You could, like, it's not inconceivable that you could just randomly generate like 6 mana with this thing. Imagine if you cast this on turn 4, you hit like 3 or 4 of your opponent's things and 3 or 4 of your things, and then you just freaking slammed something nasty like an Onyx, right? Professor Onyx.
Okay.
It's like it's Christmas Land, but like, damn, that would be really powerful.
Yeah, I think it could have its moments. This card's interesting. It's something worth actually playing with, trying to figure out.
I would keep an eye on the format, and I don't know, this card could be very powerful. Like, if you resolve this against rogues, this could be really good.
Yeah.
Okay. How about... Oh, okay, this is an interesting card, CGB. Why don't you read Rushed Rebirth?
Black and a green instant at rare. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. What are you doing with this one? What do you got?
I mean, could be a combo card in your own deck. This could be like a why do I always forget the name of that card? The Simic Sacrifice. Search up the card.
Neoform?
Neoform. That's it. Now, you need to actually kill the thing, right? Someone brought up a good point with this card that if you target an opponent's creature, you still get to do the thing. Right?
That's what I thought of first. I didn't really want to target my creatures very much.
Right. But, if you're sacrificing them, like let's say you sack them for value and then you get something else anyway, it's not like, I don't know, this card's very situational, but it is fairly powerful.
It does suck that it has to be lesser mana value, turning your 3 thing into a 2, getting a 2. I guess it depends on the impact that we have with these cards. Like, what are we fetching, and how much impact does an individual card at lesser mana value have when you just lost the card that's bigger and you had 2 mana available to pay? It's definitely a lot better if you're like killing your opponent's creature anyway and you also get something out of it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Although granted, what this card essentially kind of parlays into is like a conditional flash cheap creature most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of the questions is like, do we have a creature that our deck really wants to have in play all the time, right? Like a priest of the Forgotten Gods, right? Something like that.
That's what I'm struggling with. It feels like a lot of the creatures in the format are just fodder, especially around like black-green Sultai. Like, we don't really care about them very much, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gargaroth is the one that comes to mind, but we need a 6-drop to kill to go get it. That's asking a lot. I don't think so, man.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably a miss. So in that case,
oh man, we're into a bunch of cosmetics.
A lot of cosmetics here.
Like all the cosmetics that didn't get put out. We did it.
That's the set.
We did it. We came to the end, man.
Oh my gosh, Lord. Dude. That felt like writing a dissertation. I honestly cannot remember the last time I've been so disappointed looking at the spoilers of a set.
Here's the weird thing. There's good cards. Like, there's playable cards. It's that the cards that are unplayable are really unplayable. And like really chunky blocks of text, and they're in the rares and the mythic slots. Like, I don't remember the last time this was this way. I felt this way a lot looking at Kaladesh Inventions, like just some of the ridiculous artifacts in there. And it turned out a lot of those were better than I thought. But this is not Kaladesh. Like, these aren't just like kind of unwieldy, different, wacky artifacts. These are Elemental Expressionist with a billion lines of text that adds up to nothing, and Flame Scroll Celebrant, which is a double-sided, just worse in every way card than the things that exist. And I'm excited about Harness Infinity, and I'm excited about Silverquill Silencer and Vanishing Verse, but you forget about it so quick after you've read Dramatic Finale and tried to come up with some interesting thing to do with it, and it feels like there's nothing.
I feel like the top 10 for this set is not the best cards. It's just the playable cards.
The okay cards. And I'm very worried because I had this rant like the very first time, that like these color combinations aren't the good ones. They're the ones that nobody is playing right now. So these cards have to push that. And did any of these get there to a deck that competes with Sultai Ultimatum, that competes with Adventures, that competes with with Rogues?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is that they did a pretty good job of printing cheap answer cards in those colors, right? Like, I feel like each college got a 2-mana instant, like, good answer card. cards like the Vanishing Verse and the Simic one that counts as a spell and does the fight and stuff. The problem is that we don't actually have like you play those cards when you're in the deck. You need an incentive to get into that deck, and we don't have the incentives. We just have these efficient answers. So those in and of themselves are not going to pull you into a color, right? Or a
Yeah.
color combo.
Yeah, I have a really hard time just figuring out like what these decks do. Like what is the theme? Like what is the mid game like in the Simic deck? I don't feel it got there. The blue red deck just sounds like a joke, like a weird combo deck. White red and red blue, or not red blue. Black white and white red. Boros, Orzhov, Silver Quill, and Lorehold. I'm going to get it. They have Elite Spellbinder. And that's the card I just keep coming back to again and again. We can disrupt our opponent a little bit and beat them to death. Like, that's probably my card of the set.
Yeah, I think the Lorehold combination, the red-white, is the closest in my mind to getting there. I think, like, you can put together a narrative of like enough good white and red aggressive cards that you can put together a pretty good red-white deck in standard. We have the lands to do it. So that's where I would be looking first. I don't know that deck is going to be better than either of the monocolored decks in those colors that currently exist. So that's a strike against it. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me, man. I'm with you. I don't feel like this brings identity that is required for those decks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we keep kicking the can down the road to like maybe the next set's going to be the one that suddenly makes, Orzhov clerics a thing, right? Or maybe it's the next set that gives us enough reasons that we want to play just like a straight up blue-red deck. But we're not getting them.
You know how you head off to college and you take a few classes and then you pick your major, right? And at this, and you ace a few tests, and at this point, you feel like you've got it all figured out. The world is your frickin' oyster. You know who you are, where you belong, and you know where you're going, and you're gonna succeed, and everything's gonna be great. But in reality, you need some experience, a bit more stats, and a bit more ability to be a fully rounded, functioning person. That feels like all these cards to me, man.
Yeah,
they're all like super, all this stuff and pizzazz and confidence and just out there-ness, and it adds up to, I'll just take a 3-mana 5/5 and beat you with it. Yeah. I'm just good experience, love-struck beasts, man. Time-tested and true.
Agreed. I want my cardboard back, man. Give me my cardboard back.
Well, you get it in the Mystical Archive. What do you think of the theory that Wizards knew? Like, they really powered this down because of the Eldraine effect, and so they added the Mystical Archive so that those who want power can go to Historic and get it. What do you think of that theory?
I mean, it checks out as far as my behavioral patterns, because that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's, and I mean, okay, so this does look to me like it could be a fairly good limited set. So I think that probably I'm going to be spending, when this set releases, I'm probably going to be spending a majority of my time just grinding Mythic, getting a bunch of these Mystical Archive cards, and then just like having a playground in Historic. So yeah, I mean, if that theory were true, it would be the right thing to do given this set.
Yeah. Ah, man, it's going to be a scary couple of months. I hope that there's something I'm missing, but it feels like the meta for standard is, like hang on to your rogues.
Yeah, not going to change.
Yeah, you're not going to need many packs of this. Just play rogues, I think.
Yeah.
And Sultai.
You're going to have to dig deep into this card pool to like really find a new archetype.
But hey, we got a mascot, the Crafty companion.
We did get a mascot. Heck yeah, we did, dude. And I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we got a mascot, we got Polo's card, we got the Mystical Archive. Overall, I'm still stoked for the release. I'm just not stoked for standard.
Agree.
So I'm good luck, CGB. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my brand. That's where I live for the most part. So Thank you. All your sympathy is appreciated. Send your thoughts and prayers. I will say to everybody who listened to all our reviews, I know for a fact that some people in particular, their ears start to bleed when they hear too many complaints of one way or another. And I'm going to say, this is what we do. We talk about cards, and we're not going to sit here and fake that we think something's great if it's not. And when something is legitimately not fun to go through, like a lot of these very convoluted mythics are, with a lot of effects that just add up to stuff we don't really want to do, it does. This podcast has never felt like a chore to me, but this almost did.
Yeah.
It got close. And it wasn't you, and it wasn't Magic itself. It was some of these cards,
Agreed, man. It's never felt like such a slog, to get through them. So, yeah, I feel like on this podcast, I tend to play the role of the fresh-faced, naive optimist when it comes to new cards, and I feel like CGB is like the cold, sober voice of reason. And it was hard, man. It was hard to motivate myself into that position, I was literally behind the scenes. I was just skipping cards I ordinarily would have read because my confidence level was so low that they were going to be anything. So.
Well, I will go on the record. I think you did a good job, and I appreciate you toughing this out. For those who hear this, we recorded in a marathon 2-day session, and are probably going to release this over several days. So, I appreciate you taking the time. I love podcasts. Hopefully the listeners who are still here probably feel the same way. So on behalf of the ones who enjoyed it, thank you.
Yes. And, thanks for those of you who felt the slog. Thanks for sticking with us, because we're really not, just like CGB said, we're not trying to make this feel negative. And I think those who've been with us for a long time know that we tend to be quite pro new sets. I'm pretty excited about new cards. So if this is your first experience of an ArenaCraft set review, just know this is not the norm, or hopefully it will not be the new normal, as it were.
Let me know what you think of this idea for a stream. I've been kicking this one around. So my set review stream, I'm going to do Strixhaven or Homelands. I'm going to go through the spoiler. I'm going to pull up a card, and then I'm going to compare it to a random card from Homelands, which is vastly regarded as one of the worst sets ever. And I don't know. We'll just see. Well, which would you rather take? Which would you rather play in your deck?
Genius. Yep.
We'll see.
Genius.
We'll see.
I love it. Yeah, the first set that was released after I started playing Magic was Fallen Empires.
Oh yeah.
I feel like this is the Fallen Empires of recent Magic design. So anyway, there were a couple bangers in that set.
And there are a couple bangers here. I honestly think it's not as bad as it feels. It really is all the rares and mythics with a mile of text that you don't even want to play. That's the part that gets me. Anyway, we're beating a dead horse. All
right. So thanks for joining us for another episode of the ArenaCraft podcast, a show dedicated exclusively to Magic Gathering Arena. You can find this show on, I looked at the stats, CGB, and the most number of people listen to the show on Apple iTunes products, about or Apple Podcasts, I guess, is the app, 60%. And then I was surprised to hear this, 20% of our listeners on Spotify.
Yo.
So shout out to our Spotify listeners. Y'all are awesome. So yes, you can find our show on Spotify. You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us in a bunch of places. So wherever you want to listen to us, we probably are there. You can occasionally find me streaming on twitch.tv/ArenaCraftPodcast. You can also regularly find Covert Go Blue streaming on twitch.tv/Covert Go Blue. And if you're watching this on Covert Go Blue's channel, thank you. Leave a comment. Wonderful to have you here. You can watch this on Covert Go Blue's channel. So go check that out. All right, man. Well, I'm looking forward to checking in with you next week to talk about the new meta and see how things are going.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait to report on just exactly what rogues and ultimatums are doing against the new cards. I really do hope some of them can stand up to it and put up a fight. I hope that's there.
Me too, man. Me too. All right. Take it easy, CGB, and take it easy, crafties.
Later, crafties.